Hello everyone, Dusty here. I'm excited to announce that KitchenTableMeta is collaborating with Popo's Kitchen, a new site specializing in Dragon Ball Super singles. They have everything from Set 1 tournament promos to Union Force and even Dash Pack promos. And if that wasn't enough, you can even trade in your old cards for credit. Do you have a playset of Sensu beans you're not using? Turn them into credit and buy that shiny Jiren. Don't forget to tell them Dusty sent you by using the code KitchenTableMeta at the checkout to save 10% on your entire order.
And that's probably got to be I don't know what the correct word for it is. Good. How are you doing, man?
I am doing peachy. Yep.
You guys are 100% right. I was muted. Sorry about that. Now I'm back. You guys can just pretend like, fill in the blanks, see if you guys remember what I can say. Okay, so we're here with Jim McMahan. He's going to be talking about the floor rules that got announced, guys. This is a big thing that happened yesterday. And I would like to say that maybe there's we have some viewer questions. People are a little concerned with some of the rulings. And so Jim was kind enough to jump on here and, kind of talk, take your guys' questions. And so go right ahead, guys. Start, putting the questions in the chat. Jim can see the chats. But before we get to your guys' viewer questions, me and Jordan have about 3 questions. We're going to ask him, get him primed here, and that way it gives you guys time to ask your questions. So, Jordan, I'll let you start off, buddy, and just start firing away here, man. Let's get some questions to Jim.
Yeah, sure, man. I don't know. The first question that a lot of people have been talking about on the Facebook group and all the other groups, it was how do you feel about getting the 0 points for the draws? That was a huge question. Everybody was asking about if that was going to stick.
How do I feel about that? I mean, I got to be professional. I didn't like it. I advised against it for 6 days. But I mean, I don't like it. Is that what the question is?
Yeah, I think,
pretty much.
Yeah, I think the question is, your feelings on it, and what do you think about it, Jim? I mean, do you think is that going to be something you think will get overturned later? Do you think, how would you do it? Let's go a little bit into the rules. 'Cause I know it's a concern that you had as well. So, what do you, what's your situation with this? How are you feeling?
My situation is, first of all, I can't think of anyone who gives 0 points for a draw. When I got the email, I want to say I woke up last Thursday with the email saying, here, Jim, here's the 4 rules we're going to post on the 8th or 9th. And I read over it. I'm like, God damn, this is actually pretty good. It's reading pretty good. I mean, obviously there's some translation issues. There's some minor problems. That's got to be a typo, the 0 points. That's just a typo. And then I have a couple people that's been close to my company where we get confidential information. I shot it over to Max, who I trust a lot. He read over it and he shot back to me just details of basically maybe 5 or 6 things, but 3 things was about the tiebreakers, how they're calculated. But I said, Max, there's actually software that'll do all that. I'm not going to sit down and get a pen and paper out and just tell somebody why they finished 17th and not 16th. and then I go, did you see the 0 points for a draw? So he had completely missed it. So then that became very interesting. So, when I'm dealing with companies outside the U.S., I pick and choose what I'm going to argue, what I want to go to bat for. So I walk downstairs and say, hey, Brad, they sent 4 rules to me. They also sent a patch for software. So can you download the patch and go make a fake tournament and give everybody a draw in round 2 and see how many points they get? So about a half hour later, he came back with my office, said everybody got a draw in round 2, and they got no points.
Oh, no.
What was the options? 0, 0, 1, 1s. What was these options? Was there somewhere on there where we can get a point in the software? And granted, this is Thursday. I'm leaving on Friday to my circuit series where we're going to test this software again.
Right.
So it was kind of a nightmare. Then Thursday night we started talking back and forth, and basically they confirmed to me that let's be honest. I mean, they've already changed things already because people have complained.
Right.
I am very out there and I love talking to people, but I just like to tell them the way it's going to be. And if I screw it up, well, I'll fix it the next time. It's kind of like walking in. If you play Magic the Gathering and you're running a store, you don't want to walk into the store and say, "Hey guys, what packs do you want to draft tonight?" Because everybody's going to have different packs. You're not going to please everybody.
That's true.
So that's how I decided this is not my game. I'm not getting paid a penny. The amount of time I put into it is becoming frustrating, and now this is going on.
Right.
So, they went and changed, the best out of one, all this stuff. So, I had gone to New York City, and they had confirmed to me there was going to be no IDs. And 2 weeks later, I'm back on saying, hey, there are going to be.
Right.
2 days, maybe a week? I don't remember. 3 days, 10 days later, I'm literally reading these rules that say 0 points per draw. So basically, I can tell you what happened was they caved to the negativity of not being able to ID, let the players ID. But the creator of this game, I said on the radio last time I was on it, they want this game to be win. You win. They don't want draws. So basically, I think this 0 rule is going to be just translation. That's not a translation. I think this is going to be just a cultural thing.
Right.
Where they gave in, but they're still saying we want a winner. So if they decide to draw, that's fine, but there's no points because we want a winner. So that's what's happening. I'm like 100% positive. They caved the players. That's why I'm going back to that Friday Night Magic. This is why I'm not going to fight for every rule out there.
Right. No, for sure.
So this is what's happened. So they've changed some rules because people complained. They're waking up in Japan today. Can only imagine that they're getting bombarded on Twitter, Facebook, wherever.
Right.
But this is just going to be that type of issue. I think it's probably very, this. I don't think anyone should go jump off the bridge yet.
Right.
Yeah.
So I mean, we're not going to come out. I told you I was a little nervous to coming on the radio because I can't tell you if I'm going to make people less calm or more nervous.
Right.
Because I want to gather information and then kind of decide what we're going to do. I didn't sign up for this to create my damn rules for how I'm going to run the tournaments. This is not what I signed up for. I signed up to run Bandai's Dragon Ball game. That would be handed judges and rules and TL. Now I'm putting in more time for Bandai than my own company.
Right.
So I'm just as frustrated, even, but, I got to stay professional with it, and that's why I'm here.
No, for sure.
So,
yeah, well, I mean, I can say firsthand, at Gen Con, we played there, it was best of 1 25-minute rounds, draws, both players lost. And they took the feedback from that, and they changed it to what we have now. So they do listen. You're 100% right, and I think they, maybe to a fault, listen to feedback maybe a little too much. And so, I think this will be something that will probably almost definitely get changed, Jim. I'm with you on that. So a couple of questions we have concerning this is the first thing. It says, is Jim enforcing it since he is the TO? So since you're the tournament organizer, is this something you're going to enforce?
Am I going to enforce? I don't know. I think I just said I don't know what we're going to do.
Right.
It's not my game. The reason I'm in this position to be able to host these tournaments for the Dragon Ball community is because I left another Japanese company, Konami, and went on my own and created our own rules. And then after years, we just went back and just play with the Konami rules. So I don't know what we're going to enforce. The reason you're doing best out of 3 is because I told them I can run best out of 3. The Circus Series is a 2-day event. We can run best out of 3. But the only thing that me and Brad and my team were leaning towards today, because we know that they want a winner, the creator, the licensor wants a winner of the game. We literally are thinking best out of 1 is the way to go now.
Yeah, no, I agree. I know we talked about this last time you were on, but yeah, no, me and Jordan have talked about it a lot. I mean, I think through the competitive community, I think once people, because like you said, Jim, I think a lot of people like to compare games to other games, and you really shouldn't do that. You should compare your game to your game. And I think once people started actually playing the game and sitting down, they realized kind of how ridiculous best of 3 is. Like, it's just not possible usually to get all 3 games done. And I completely agree with you, Jim. I think it'll probably move towards a best of 1.
And
Really?
I mean, I had to send them data. There's things that I don't tell people. I had a meeting in St. Louis. We had 21 players show up. We didn't really expect to have many because of the sneak peeks. And I voted with the players. Not one player wanted to have 0 points for a draw. So I was asked to run that tournament last weekend with that rule. And I said, absolutely not. I'm not going to show up on Saturday morning and tell people they get no points for a draw. I won't do that.
Right.
I will ask them if they're okay with it, and they are. We'll run with it, but they weren't. What the players did not know last weekend was I was sending data back to them to see how many draws we had in a 5-round tournament. And when I went Sunday night sitting at the airport and I sent them that information, we had 1 draw. That was it. 5 rounds, 1 draw. So, and we used our software, which allowed them 1 point for a draw. So, and we went back and looked at other data from another event. We just haven't had many draws anyways. So I knew the public was going to see that 0 point and run with it, but draws really haven't been an issue so far. It was so early on, who knows if it is down the road.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, please don't take this 1 draw. But they came back and said, this, by them coming back right away, they want this game to have a winner. I'm in agreement with that. I know that I had a choice to go best out of 1, best out of 3. We said we'd run these regionals best out of 3. But I mean, today that's the only thing I'm within an hour of going to bed, and I'm probably gonna go to bed thinking best out of 1. So there's a lot of things we'll take into consideration.
Okay. I have one more question from one of the viewers here. This is more of what we're talking about now. This will be the last question, guys, about the format. This isn't kind of really what we're here, to discuss. It's more about the floor rules. But they're asking, how do you feel about the best of 1 Swiss into best of 3 Top Cut? Have you guys as a format?
One of the reasons we decided to go best out of 3, we felt that every game really was a best out of 3 when you get to competitive. As a company that likes to sell cards and so forth, we think it's more casual to play the best out of 1, but there's no doubt in our mind. We run Pokemon at the Circuit Series. It's a 30-minute time limit, best out of 1. We get right in the top 8, and we play 2 out of 3. We increase their time limit to an hour.
Okay.
So that's something that we really think. I'm just leaning towards that's the best way to go right now.
I agree. No, I think that sounds awesome.
I agree as well.
Doesn't mean we're going that way.
Yeah, right. We got some people saying McMahon for life in the chat. Okay, so I think our next question we had for you, Jim, as far considering the rules, was the end of turn procedure. I know that's got a lot of people, kind of excited. They don't really quite know how it's going to work. In the rules, it kind of hints a little bit at as soon as time is called, you immediately end the active player's turn and then start the turn procedure. And obviously, some people have kind of showed light at how that could be abused. I think it's just a translation error. I feel like it's not quite supposed to be taken that way, but was hoping you could shed some light on that.
100% never going to happen. Translation error. You'll finish your turn. There'll be 3 additional turns. Each player will get 2 turns once the clock goes out.
Right. Okay. Pretty easy. Okay. Another question.
That has to be. Well, God, I don't know. Nothing has to be anymore with this, but it's not happening.
Right. Right. Another question people are talking about that they're a little bummed about is the annoyance rule. People are saying that if someone's hand shuffling or doing something that annoys their opponents, they can call a judge over and shut that down. Again, seems a little bit like a translation error. What do you think, Jim?
Depends on how much money they spend at our booth.
Nice.
If someone calls me over to tell me their opponent is annoying them because of shuffling, I'm probably going to promote them back to judge or something because I don't think it's anything to worry about.
Right. Yeah, I think that would be it's pretty smart. All right, and then I know
as long as they have they smell pretty and they're well groomed and we'll be okay.
Okay, awesome. Okay, and then the last question that we saw a lot of community concern about was whether it's going to be, I guess the rules weren't clear, but the top 16 cut and then top 8 cut. What's the number difference between those, Jim? Are you do you know about that?
I would say I agree. Well, I stuck up. People were messaging me, and then I think I saw a post, and I was running a circuit series. But I know Core had about 180 players, and they were cutting the top 8. People were messaging me. I completely agree with a top 8 cut. I posted what I believe in, but since I thought it was a one-day event. So if it's a 2-day event, you can make it a little bit more prestigious at a certain number. I'm okay with a top 8. A Magic, I'll have 1,800 people at a tournament, and they cut the top 8.
Sure.
So we in Yu-Gi-Oh we used to draw 300-400 players. We're down sometimes only 150. This past weekend we only had 85 players. We cut the top 16. So because it's a little bit larger prizes, you might want to do that. It's a 2-day event, So I think I posted on our website when we would make those cuts. I don't think, maybe we'll address that as we get closer to what. I didn't see that in floor rules. Is that in the floor rules? Did I just miss it?
Well, it's missing. I think it tells it suggests the number for Swiss, how many rounds of Swiss you should have, but it doesn't go into details on top cuts. And I think that's what people were afraid of. Like, holy crap, what does that mean? And so I think actually even some people were afraid that there would be no top cut. That it just goes by the Swiss rounds, which seems ridiculous. Obviously, that's not the intention. So it's a question I want to run by you.
Yeah, I mean, it's just going to depend. Remember, we really. I stress for everybody, if you're coming to an event, to pre-register, because we have a cap at every event of 200 players. So it's just going to depend. We're gonna address it. We have it in our notes. We also have it suggested on our website. I don't think we have it on the regional website, but I don't know. I guess we just want to wait and see what we do. We keep best out of 3, best out of 1. I have no idea. We are definitely going to play best out of 1 on the 1K on Sundays. So you're probably I don't know. I'm just here to talk right now. I have no idea what I'm doing.
No, you're doing awesome, man. We already have a couple. We have a hashtag in Jim We Trust that just popped up, man. You're doing fine, man. No, trust me. And I'll say this. I've said it a lot before in the last cast, and I'll say it again with Jim being here too. Is that after talk with you the multiple times I have Jim, I feel like there's nobody better that we have to run our game and to get us into a competitive level first. And honestly, guys, I know it's frustrating right now. I know it stinks to have like all these rules we're going through, but this is a very unique spot to be in with our game. You guys are in at the ground floor, and we get to really help push this game in the right direction. And so while it can be frustrating at times, it is also a very exciting opportunity to have to be able to tell Bandai and tell Jim what you guys don't like, and so he can relay the message to Bandai and get things fixed. And again, it's going to be awesome. Eventually we're going to get this game to a place that we all like to play.
Yeah, I don't know if I could tell Bandai anything and have them fix it. I mean, right. after the 0 draw, it's disheartening for me to. I don't know where we're going to go with it. There's other issues that nobody knows and so forth. So I'm very frustrated right now. So we'll just see where it goes. It'll all fall into place. I feel like I know kind of what I was signing up for. I thought I was set up for failure before we even began. I love that. I love that. I think that way. But once we get there, we'll knock it down. So.
Well, trust me, Jim, nothing you've done so far has at all been failure. I think that you've done a fantastic job, and I know Jordan as well. We're both very excited for these events and could not be more happy with the way things are going, honestly.
Yeah, same.
Okay. So, Jim, what's some frustrations? You said you're a little frustrated. What's some frustrations you're having right now? What's some frustrations you're having with the changes? Is there? Well, if you could, talk to Bandai right now, what's some changes you would suggest?
Just let me have the keys to the car. But
that would be great.
Because I know what I'm doing. So, I know what I'm doing. So but maybe I don't know what I'm doing. So I'm just a little frustrated that we're getting so close. But I think things will fall in place. The judge, what's going to happen with the judges. And just some minor stuff that might not have come in, or just translations, or maybe where I'm having an issue with the trophies right now. where we're advertising trophies, but I'm not getting trophies, so I got to work that out.
Right.
So there's an issue where I wanted the champion play mat, but they were thinking that the champion play mat would replace the trophy. So there's just some minor stuff like that, but it's very time consuming. So that's where I'm frustrated at. So we'll see. I guess I probably expected a little bit, but to spend 6 days and then still have something go up, we'll see. I don't know. They got bosses over there too, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. So. Well, I've seen a couple questions in chat, and I'll ask this question too. Some people are thinking, do you think it's possible that they've misunderstood the difference between a match win and a game win? And when they say if you lose a game, like it's a 0 points, that just means like for that game, but not for the match. Do you think that's a possibility, or do you think it's just?
I see a lot of numbers going around. I mentioned Max had come up with sitting down, figuring out tiebreakers. I saw a couple people comment that people don't know what a match is compared to what a game is. I literally don't even look at it. I'm not even worried about it. I mean, I don't know if that comes down. I've had so many things said to me in person, like, hey, I won game 1, I won game 2, we just drew in game 3. Well, if game 3 doesn't finish, it's not a draw. So, I mean, it's not going to be a 1-1-1-1.
Right.
However the hell you would mark it. So it's just going to be a 1-1. So is that what you're asking? The difference between a game and a match and the confusion that's out there?
Yeah. I'm thinking maybe there's just the question is maybe there's a translation error between that. So whenever they say, if you get a draw at 0 points, do they mean 0 points as in the match didn't complete, but it's actually still a game win, if that makes sense? Like they just.
God, I wish I could show you my emails. I mean, my last email before that it went live, it was probably Sunday night. I sent an email that said, can you take the software and create a 0-0 draw for 0 points, and then create a 1-1 draw for 1 point? And then my response that I got back from them, I couldn't translate it to exactly know what was going on, but it just seems like they could not do that. It would be a conflict in the tiebreaker, something weird. So that was my suggestion. Let's go ahead. I know this is going to be an issue. Let's 0-0, 0 points, 1-1, 1 point. But then we know that we were going to do the 1-1.
Right.
1 point. When we were in Atlantic City, the software was really weird, where we had to select something to get that 1 point, but it wasn't there anymore. So I think it should be basic, but I could be talking. Who knows what's going to happen? It's not my game. We're going to run we're only signed up to run the first 3 regionals, the first 3 months of regionals. So
definitely.
We just got to get the ball rolling. I don't know what's going to go past that, but I would imagine I can only see being the standard is how I would run it.
Okay, yeah. Another question is, people are talking about the so in other card games. I'll just ask you this first. In other card games, whenever a player accidentally draws an extra card, what is usually the way to resolve that in other card games? Like
me, my partner, my staff, they were pissed off at me this weekend. I love the Bandai rule.
Okay.
This isn't Magic the Gathering. This isn't Pokemon. This is not Yu-Gi-Oh! This is unique to Dragon Ball. Let it have some of its own rules. Pick up your deck, target your card, then turn it over and shuffle it.
Yep.
And, I hate when players tell me it's hard to enforce. How are you going to enforce it? Well, you know what? If you go to the bathroom and you roll for the game, how do I enforce that? I don't, but you're still cheating.
Right.
So it's up to the integrity of you as a player. So obviously that rule would be in there because they don't want the advantage, because you had to look at your deck to know what is in your life. So I don't even play card games, and I like that from that aspect. So no one voted with me, but when I say let Dragon Ball brand itself, let it have some rules that other games, quit comparing to everything. So that's where I'm at on that. I love the rule. I would help teach the judges how to enforce that. And it, we talked about it a little bit in St. Louis with the Dragon Ball players.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, no, I agree. I mean, actually, this weekend when we went to the Dream Wizard tournament, round one, it actually happened to me. We got down really close to time. I was rushing to try to get the game done, and I accidentally drew an extra card. And I actually ended up getting a game loss for it. And literally, my opponent was dead. There was nothing he could do. Essentially, the game just got snatched from me, essentially. And
you're talking draw an extra card?
Yeah.
I was thinking when you go through your deck to target. That was the one I liked.
Yeah. Okay, I see what you're saying. Okay. Yeah, we can get to that. We'll get right into that because I feel like that's something me and you maybe differ on a little bit. But yeah, I'm talking about the draw an extra card rule. In some games, it's a game loss immediately. In Dragon Ball, they've ruled that it's a your opponent essentially looks at your hand and picks what card they want, and it puts it back into your deck and shuffle. So it's kind of like it gives your opponent a bunch of information. And I know in other games like Pokemon, I don't think you get a game loss for drawing an extra card. I know Magic, they've started to get away from it as well. I mean, where are you at on this?
Well, that's the one that Max brought up to me within 30 minutes of me sending the 4 rules.
Right.
I am not a card player. Again, I think that I don't know. First of all, I think it should be a game loss.
Okay.
I think it's your responsibility to draw 1 card. Second, if you don't want it to be a game loss, I think, yeah, you know what? It's a lot. I think it sucks. Why play the game if your opponent gets to see your hand and pick a card and put it back? So I just like the game loss, personally. Now, I'm not a judge. That's probably a rule that I don't really touch. That's just a rule where how it's written is how we would enforce it. Okay.
Yeah, no, I agree.
So I need to be worried about best out of 1. I got to be worried about draws. Not if that rule stated, it's just not going to go on my list for 6 days of emails to change it.
So to answer your question, Zero Magnum, it is not in the current rules. It is not an auto loss anymore. You get a warning. No, you get a not a warning. What's after a warning, Jordan? It's not. I forget. It's like they call it it's like a violation, and if you get like 2 of those, then it's a game loss. I can't remember the word they use for it. It's not.
I don't know the word either.
Yeah, warning is just like don't do that again, and if you get too many of those, then it escalates up. So no, it's not. It's currently not a game loss for drawing an extra card. No. Yeah,
caution,
and notice. That's it. Yeah, notice. Yep.
Yeah.
Notice. Yeah. Game loss.
Yeah. Okay. So Jim, let's talk a little bit about this. Looking through your deck, you have to stop. So the rule is, guys, that if you let's say you play Bulma, it says look through your deck, pick a Whis card that costs 4 or less. The rule is as soon as you come across the first Whis target that you want, you have to take it out of your deck. Now, in other games like Pokemon, you can search your deck, you can look at all your cards, you can see what's in your prizes, or in Dragon Ball, you can see what's in your life, and then you can choose the card you want and kind of get that information. Now, in this game, they don't let you do that. And it's been tossed around the community a little bit that maybe that's a hard rule to enforce, because how do you know that they went through and saw the first card, right? And so, what do you think about that, Jim? I know you said a little bit about it earlier, but we thought we were talking about something different. So what do you think about that rule? You think it is hard to enforce? What do you think?
No, I don't. I mean, so once you find that card, you're done.
Right.
So then hey, if that card's you got 40 cards in your deck and it's card 39, you're a really lucky guy, right? So, but if you turn your deck over and that card's there, you take it and then you got to shuffle. If you go through your deck and your opponent calls the judge over and the judge can prove it, then you cheated. That's probably the thing that pisses me off more than anything else. Is the number of people in the Dragon Ball groups on Facebook, they don't like a rule. They say they're going to violate it anyways.
Right. I agree.
You're a cheater.
Right. Well, I've said this multiple times.
I hate cheaters because I'm in an industry. I hate cheaters.
Me too. Because
to see somebody that might come to one of my events saying they don't like the rule and they're going to violate that rule anyways pisses me off.
Well, I tell you, it does me too, Jim. I tell you, what else makes you mad, Jim, while you're on that topic, is when people say they're not going to come to an event if it's not done this way. And it's like, well, the best way to support this game, guys, is to go to the events, because that shows Bandai that we're interested, right? And then we can work out the rules. That will eventually change. But to say, I'm not going unless you do it my way, that's a very childish thing to do, and it hurts the game more than anything. And like Jim is saying...
it absolutely hurts the game.
It does.
So we have another question for Jim. It says, Jim, curious on this wording. Are you really responsible for thefts? It says the event organizer will be held responsible for any theft that occurs during the event. Event items included.
Yeah, we're not responsible for theft. We're not responsible for you calling off your job to go to our event and you get fired. We're not responsible if you get a flat tire. That's just going to be another, wording issue. I will guarantee everybody who comes to our event there will be theft. I've done this for 17 years, so there's two things I hate. I hate theft, and I hate cheaters. I ban thievery people more. It's a lifetime ban if we catch you cheating at an ARG.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you never come back.
And so is that hard as a TO to prove, because it could be accidental cheating, right? Or is it does it have to have malice behind it, or how do you find that?
How do I say? Ask me that question one more time.
Okay, so for example, if I in the last event where I accidentally drew an extra card, that's technically cheating, right? But I didn't do it on purpose. But there might be people who truly actually are drawing cards on purpose. How do you differentiate do you tell them apart?
Well, everything, that's what I'm saying. So we can enforce anything. So you don't want to lie. You want to always tell the truth.
Right.
So one of the best things that a judge or an event organizer or anyone investigating something is if you lie. You just make the job so much easier. So, don't lie. And there's ways to investigate things. But me personally, when a judge comes to me, and, it usually doesn't come up to my level because the head judge, I'm the TO, so it has to be something a little bit more serious. Maybe a disqualification, maybe, a theft, something like that might come up to me. But the judges are going to be looking for intent. So,
right.
Purpose. And, I talked to a lot of players. I know there's been videos out there where, people are deciphering. I love to watch that. I love to catch people stealing, and I love to look for a cheater that's doing something intentional, because we don't want them at our events. Nobody wants a cheater in their store. Nobody wants a thief. So there's just different things we can do. There's a lot of things I do as a tournament organizer that I don't ever tell anyone I do.
Right.
For safety, to catch a cheater, sometimes I'll circle an event, people got stuff under their feet, or, you can go up to someone and say, hey, you better put your book bag under your chair. So there's all kinds of different things we look for, but some events have 600, 700 people there. So the best judge in a room should be you. And
that's good. That's a good saying.
But you should keep an eye on, you should probably keep an eye on your belongings. But yeah, Bandai's going to probably have to change that rule. We're going to suggest to them. If not, when you come to the event, you would have to sign a waiver for that theft part. We can't be. There's no way we can be responsible for that.
Right. Zero Magnum, your question, like Jim just said, it's all about intent. You know what I mean? So if you did an accident, if you didn't mean to do it, they're not going to fly in and ban you or get you in trouble. It's a mistake. Mistakes happen, especially in events, in tournaments. I've been playing professional events for 12 years, and I still get nervous sometimes when I go to events. That's sometimes you accidentally pick up too many cards or whatever. That's not a Jim's not going to fly in and be like, you're banned, get out of here. It's a mistake. You know what I mean? There is a difference. Like he's saying, there's a tent. It's a lot different.
Yeah, definitely. I'm not going to be involved in there'll be judges, right. And then my advice to people: don't lie.
Yes,
because
sir.
if we're investigating something and you lie, we're just going to take it on there and be done with you, because we can move along a lot faster. So I would always suggest telling the truth, because there's people sitting next to you. There's people who don't even know they're watching. The judge might see something you don't think. Once you lie, you're going to get DQ for cheating.
Yeah, you're 100% right. Yep.
I know you're going to be branded a cheater.
Yes, sir. I know. As soon as the judge walked over my event and was like, "Did you just draw an extra card?" I was like, "Yes, I did." You are 100% right. I did.
Yeah. I have seen everything. I have seen players on camera draw an extra card, and then realize it a turn or two later, and then just sit there and the right thing to do is, you have to say, hey, I drew an extra card 2 turns ago, but because you did, and that's cheating.
Right. You're 100% right. Nope.
Definitely. Right.
Awesome. All right, guys. So we're probably going to let Jim go here in just a little bit. So if you have any more questions, guys, make sure you let him know. He's a busy man, and I know he has to be wore out today. I know he had a heck of a day today, and so we're not going to keep him on here anymore. It's already been about 40 minutes, so I don't want to, stress him out. So Jordan, did you have any final questions for Jim? Anything else you want to talk about for Jim? Any questions on your end?
No, he answered all the questions that I think were the main concern of everybody in the group and people that play the game. So I think he did a pretty good job.
Yeah, I just give it a couple more days, and I don't know if I want to make any statements or change any rules right now. That's the main thing. This is not my game. This is Bandai. And I'm willing to work with them. I'm assuming you guys blew up, so forth. So this is going to. Well, wait. What I don't want it to turn into is the rules keep changing.
Right.
One of the things I was saying when I'm like, you can announce this, trust me. And I even signed the email, please trust me and don't do it. And they reply back, we trust you, Jim. And then they still did it. So,
we trust you, Jim, but we just know you're going to fail. We're doing it our way.
And then they're still going to do it. Then they told me rules are going. This is an email I have last week. Rules will be changing every regional. I'm like, no, they won't.
Please don't make me do that.
Right. So I mean, I would just. These 3 months are trials.
Right.
So maybe the translation is because rules are going to change. We're going to do something. They don't like it. They're going to change it. That's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah.
But I'm not the right guy to have running your tournaments. If I know the rules right and you're changing it, I won't be around much longer. So then good luck. So hopefully the community will stay positive and but don't, give it a little time and then we'll make it work and everything will be finalized with your show up. You should have a judge test tonight, right? And I think maybe they'll actually put up the regionals up on their website and there's cool playmats you're getting. I got images, so hopefully they'll start spoiling those images and everything.
Yeah, it's actually one of the questions says, how will participation prizes work? Andy, I'll let Jim chime in too, but just a real quick brief rundown. $30 per entry. Please, guys, if you haven't, for all the people watching, the 40-plus people are watching right now, please pre-register for these events. They are really important to get our game off the ground. Like Jim said, they're trials, so the more people that show up, the more interest they see, the more they'll take interest in the game. And also, you want to make sure you get your spot because these are going to sell out. It's $30. You get a play mat, which is insane. That's awesome. Plus, you get packs of set 2 promos, tournament promos, and set 1 promos. Honestly, like, it's worth it to just go there and pay $30 and literally just leave after that. Like, you have major money. Like, it is insane. These participation prizes are insane. And I'll let Jim talk a little bit more about them, but yeah, they are absolutely worth it. Jim has done a fantastic job getting us to where we are now.
The mats are ordered. The tournament packs have showed up, so we have all that. We're just waiting on them to spoil it. So, get the rules. You're going to get participation, show up, and hopefully I'm on the show talking about a national championship someday. We can go to work on the future events in March and April. So just show the support and we'll see. But definitely right now is the time to go to Bandai. And the stupid stuff, you're not going to get DQ for taking a pen.
Yeah, that was actually one of the questions I was just about to read to you.
Yeah, you're not going to get DQ'd. So we'll focus on the serious stuff and go that route.
Right.
So I would see, I think these 4 rules were called 1.0.
Yes,
there might even be a chance that you might have 4 rules 1.05 or 10 before we get to the first regional. Who knows?
True. Yeah, no, you're 100% right. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's actually, I was talking to one person about it on Facebook, and I was like, don't worry, there's a very high chance these will change. And they go, how do you know it's going to change? And I was like, because it says version 1 on the paper. So usually that means they're preparing for some changes, right?
These are rules that are posted from Japan. They don't have any legal. This isn't the Constitution of the United Card Kingdom or whatever you want to call it. So these are just like, I just want to see the word "suggest" it fly out the window and just speak in concrete. So I just give it some time. I relax. I think the way Facebook works and everything works, you guys will have that information to you. I think there's a lot of things I'm not happy with, a lot of things that concern me, the distribution process, stores not getting tournament kits, all kinds of stuff. But reading people cheating, it sucks. The one of the other thing is all the stores are going to play with different rules, it looks like. All that's bad for the game. So you have to give it some time.
Okay, definitely. We have one more question for you, Jim. It says, can we expect an email to confirm registration as we get closer to the event, just to confirm everything is in order?
No, the website's Shopify. We built a website. We've had over maybe close to 200 people register so far, and maybe 3 to 4 are emailing saying they didn't get anything. So you're supposed to get that email. Sometimes it gets lost. A couple of people, it was in their spam folder.
Oh, okay.
If it was taken out of your account, you're registered, but you're not going to have anything other than that email that the website's supposed to send you. But because of spam filters and stuff like that, sometimes you don't get it. But if you see it taken out of your debit account or charged to your credit card, we have that information. There's people who are signing up and have a problem. They're going to show up and we don't have their payment. We're emailing them. They're not getting back to us. So we're actually looking at all those payments. You can always email events at alterealitygames.com and ask them if you got it, but you're going to be fine. If you can show us a screenshot that you paid at the event, we'll make sure we're not going to tell you have to go home.
Okay.
We might make you play Yu-Gi-Oh! But
oh no, that's worse than just going home, Jim.
That is worse.
yeah.
Awesome. All right, Jim. Well, anything else you want to say before we get you off here? Sorry we kept you here so long, Jim. Every time you're on here, I just feel like I talk your ear off, man. I love having you on here.
Yeah, no, I'm absolutely fine. I had no idea how long we were going to get going tonight. So, but hopefully that all works. I know there's some big tournaments. I was happy with the 180 people that show up at the core tournament. I see there's another guaranteed $2,000 cash tournament in California next weekend. So
yes, sir.
I like, I'm looking, what core did, looking at the cash tournaments. We're not allowed to do cash tournaments, but, keep supporting the tournaments and we'll see what's going on. Maybe that's what the demographics call for. So.
Right. And the core event, Jim, wasn't sponsored by Bandai, right? It was their own thing, right?
Yeah, I'm so busy doing ARG and living. I have no idea. I know the only thing I know about the core event, they had 180 players. Sunday I had some time. I was scanning the groups, looking for as much information as I can. I found like 5 pictures. I do not know much about the core event. I don't know if they got. I don't think there was any participation prizes. I think the top 8 got electronics.
Yeah. Top one was like iPhone X. Second place was like a PlayStation Gold, whatever that is, and then there's some other stuff. I'm not 100% sure, but I know those were definitely the first 2 prizes. Yeah.
No, I would definitely. Yeah. But I mean, I just saw right before I came on, I had the $2,000 cash tournament, and so forth. Well, my feeling on the core event is if there wasn't any participation prizes and 180 players showed up just for that top 8 prizes, that means a lot of people think they can win that tournament. You have new exciting. So I don't have a big take on it. I don't know if Bandai was behind it. Someone sent me a picture of a big banner they had there with official artwork on it.
That's awesome.
So I don't know. It's hard enough to keep up. I mean, I think when I came on, I'm very frustrated how much time I'm putting. I'm just supposed to show up and run a Dragon Ball tournament, but I just became the voice of the Dragon Ball community, going back and forth, and so I'm very frustrated with the amount of time I'm putting in it. But I wouldn't be if we were getting things done. So we'll find out in Hartford.
Well,
So,
I'll tell you, we actually had a couple people already message on the chat here and said they just pre-registered. So that's awesome, guys. I know it might seem like that you're kind of running into a wall. That's like you said, the rules keep changing. But I promise you that we really appreciate it, Jim, and it really means a lot to us. And I'm really hoping we won't let you down and we show up in big numbers and really make it worth your while.
yeah, we got more pre-registrations today. Then today was our best day. Yeah, I see Patrick O'Neill just pre-registered. See, it popped up on my phone. Is Patrick O'Neill in the room?
Yeah.
That's Tsukiyomi. Yeah, he's the one that just pre-registered
Awesome.
Yeah,
in the chat.
Yeah, there you go. It just popped up on my phone as you said that.
Yep.
So.
That's awesome. Yeah,
I will.
One
I
last
will be there, Pat.
Yeah, one last question I want to ask you is people are asking about it seems like there's a lot of interest in the Vegas event. People are asking how many people register for that. I don't know if that's something you want to talk about or not, but that's, I know people are very interested in Vegas.
The thing about pre-registration is 80% of the people registered the last week.
Right.
Wow.
80% of those people
That's nuts.
pre-registered the last 36 hours. That doesn't do us any good. We're giving up $1.50 to the credit card companies because we want people to pre-register. So if we sell out 200 and there's maybe demand for another 100, maybe we can squeeze in 8 chairs per table. Maybe we can rent another room. So we'll see what happens. But we're going to make all our events in Hartford pre-reg. So even the Yu-Gi-Oh event is going on at the same. So we're only running Yu-Gi-Oh and Dragon Ball that day. So we're going to try to get some other things approved for that day. We'll be there vending. We might be able to stream it. We're looking to get approval for streaming. The Vegas event is in the smallest event we're going to have. The room is tiny. So if you're going to go to Vegas, I would definitely pre-register. Because my Facebook page, everybody's talking about it. We're going to run all the games on Sunday, but we are going to run Yu-Gi-Oh! And Dragon Ball. I think we only have seating for like 380 players in that room. So we're working on getting so that event's the #1 event you should register for.
Okay.
That is one that we have an opportunity to get a bigger room if we have to, but we're not going to do it if people register at the last minute.
Okay, awesome.
Just booking your airplane ticket, sign up for the damn tournament.
That is good.
That's
right
awesome.
there.
That's awesome. Well, Jim, thank you so much, man. You're always a pleasure to have on the cast, man. Thank you so much for coming on here. You're always very professional, always very informative, man. And thank you again from the bottom of my heart.
There we go, James Bacon. He just pre-registered for Rich.
I got you. Come on, guys. Let's blow his phone up. I don't want Jim
He's
to
in
sleep.
chat too.
I don't want.
You want
Jim
me to go
to,
pre-register? I'll go pre-register.
I don't want.
I
Jim to
can't
sleep
believe
tonight.
these pre-registrations come in my damn phone. I got to figure out how to turn it off.
Nope. Guys, before he figures it out, we just need to blow his phone up. I want Jim to be up all night. Look at these pre-registrations.
That's because I was out of my office. Too much is getting forwarded. But yep. All right. We'll have a good rest of the show, and everyone calm down, and we'll just. I guess the biggest thing we'll have to decide: best out of 1, best out of 3. But yeah, I think best out of 3 is probably what we're going to stay with. Let's be honest. And I think we're definitely going to figure out how to get 1 point for the draw. Hopefully, Bandai will make that decision. I don't want to make the decision.
Right.
Maybe we have. There's a good chance. One of the ways I'm leaning, I haven't said it yet. There's a good chance that we're just going to go with what Bandai has on those rules and tweak them a little bit and work with them. So,
well, I mean, like you said, Jim, that's the best way to kind of let them do what they want to do and see the error in it. That's how they're going to change it, right? Like, yeah, definitely, I agree.
Yeah. Yeah, and we're definitely hoping that they see that today and that this rule will be changed pretty soon.
Well, I'll tell you, man, I saw a guy post up a thing on the forums, and he was just like, here's their Twitter account, destroy it. Like, just go and destroy it. And it had like 400 likes on it. So I guarantee you, like you said, they're going to wake up. I normally have
an email from Bandai at this time of night. It's probably about noon over there. I don't have any emails today. So hopefully they are just reading all kinds of, and you know what? And if you're gonna contact them, please be professional.
Yes.
Don't make it personal. Just be professional. So I don't have to explain them why Americans act like Americans act like. So.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much. We appreciate it. Well, Jim, thank you so much. Get some rest, man. Again, thank you for all much, for everything you do for the community, man. It really, really means a lot. And like I said, it just, thank you for taking time to be on here. Like you said, this is your free time, man. You don't have to be here, and thank you for doing that.
All right, have a good one, guys.
You too, Jim. Thank
you
so much.
Appreciate it. Thanks for being on.
Bye-bye.
See you, man. All right, guys. So, again, special thanks to Jim for taking his time to do that, guys. Again, like I always say, that's something he doesn't have to do. Something for you guys to really realize is Jim is not employed by Bandai. Jim was chosen to help them do these at the ARG events, and he's put a lot of time into this. So, really, thank you for being here, Jim. It really means a lot. Also, we have Modro Jojo says, make Dusty the main announcer for the tourney streams, like the League of Legends spokesperson. He deserves it. Thank you so much, buddy. I really appreciate that. That would definitely be something I would like to do. Okay, so let's move on to our first topic here. Sorry, guys, that we've been kind of jumping around so much. I forget to put it on here. I bet you I did. Anyway, I'm just going to just turn this off. Print this back on. All right, and then what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the Dream Wizards tournament a little bit here. I know that's something that we did this weekend. Jordan, I'll let you start talking about it while I get the image pulled up here. But I know you went with us, and why don't you talk a little bit about the event?
I don't know. I had just a really good time at the event. It's been a while since I've been at Dream Wizards. I used to go there for the Naruto CCG a while back, but it's a really great store, and I had a blast.
Yeah, definitely. Me too. I mean, I'll tell you, the Dream Wizards event is the first event we've done as a team, right? So, my wife stayed up and we did some shirts and we got some deck lists going and we were like, get ready to hit that up. We're like, here we go, man. First team event. It's going to be awesome. And I'll tell you, I had a blast. I mean, Dream was the first time I've been there. Our teammate, John Tata, which is he's like was in the Pro Tour for Magic and very, very good player. Just a very good card game player in general. He's been there multiple times for, I think, the WoW card game is what he said. I can't quite remember. So he knew a lot about the store. He talked pretty highly of it as well. And we went down there. I'll tell you what, we had an amazing time. It was a really well-run event. If you guys are ever in the area and want to go check it out, it's awesome. I know that one of the judges there is also in the chat. Yeah, it's in Rockville, Maryland. Fantastic place. And I'll tell you what, oh man, guys, your deck lists were awesome. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate that. We really appreciate that. It's something we took real seriously. Again, as a team, I want to make sure I kept the team small and I kept the team professional, and that we, kind of, did that in everything we do. So that's shirts, that's jerseys, that's deck lists even. So thank you very much. I actually stayed up a long time working on those, actually, because I know nothing about words. It was actually terrible. But yeah, the judges that were there, they both were very professional. They had 2 judges, which I thought was awesome. Neither one of them played, which was fantastic. I love when judges don't play. I think it's very important to the integrity of the game, right? If they're not playing, that means their full attention is on judging. And so both judges were awesome. I didn't see any problems with any calls there. I didn't see anybody have any discrepancies about calls. It was ran very clean, very professional. So, very, very good event. So Jordan, why don't you talk a little bit about what you played at the event? I want to hear what you played. Let's talk a little bit about what we took there.
All right. Well, I had decided to take green, yellow, Ginyu hand destruction. I didn't really test too much. Just didn't have enough time. I mean, it was the 3rd day, I guess the set was released.
Yeah.
So I didn't really get much testing in, and there was a lot of powerful green cards that came out in set 2, and I thought that maybe just going dual color instead of the tricolor would be a little bit better, and then adding in the hand destruction, which uses a lot of green anyway, so it seemed like it would the deck would kind of build itself at that point. I ended up going 3 and 3. I don't know. It didn't work out as I planned, obviously, but I think the deck's still really solid. Like maybe just some tweaks, and it can get there.
Yeah, no, for sure. I will say, I also played hand destruction. I played cell hand destruction, so I played blue-green cell hand destruction, which I love the deck. I think it's awesome. The event before that, I played Zamasu, which is what we took that deck, tweaked a little bit, and that's what John played. He got 9th overall. I think I got like 28th or something. So my first match I played and got a game loss I attacked with Cell and drew a card off of Cell's attack. Which was frustrating, but honestly, it was a very easy mistake to make. Essentially, I was just we were getting really close to time, and I just wanted to make sure I got my turn over real quick, so I could definitely win the next turn if I couldn't win that turn. And so I just attacked and instinctively drew a card off of his attack. It was just a mistake, so I lost that match. And then the next match, I had to play against a teammate. I had to play against Sawyer. And what I think Sawyer's deck was actually better than my deck. I think it was a really smart deck. And so I gave him the win for 2 reasons. One, because I just think his deck was better. And second of all, I think that the reason why we were in that situation was my fault, right? If I don't make the play mistake the turn prior, I would have never had to play against him. And he had to play Jordan the first round. So we actually, and I think the first 3 rounds, we almost, I think we knocked off like 4 of our players or something. We had to play each other quite a bit. Which is a big problem with I guess our pairings. That's one of the reasons I think why we didn't have better showing. And so I felt like I should give that win to Sawyer because it was my fault we were in that situation. And then I played some really good decks. I played a Vegito deck, but the Android deck that I played was my one loss that I think I earned. It was a deck that I don't think there's any way I could have beat it. And it was just a very strong deck. Did you ever get to play against any of the Android decks, Jordan? In the the 17 deck?
No, I actually didn't. I know I ended up playing. Like you said, Sawyer, I played first round. Second round, I played tricolored Galactic Frieza Francis, who I also know from Naruto. He's a solid player. None of the unique Android decks, though. I didn't really play any of those. I played Vegito, and then I ended up playing John round 4. He was playing Zamatsu. But no, I actually didn't get to play against any of the Android decks. I don't think I played against Cell either, so it was kind of interesting.
Yeah, so it's weird you didn't play against Cell. I saw a lot of Cell decks. Actually, I didn't think I played the mirror match. Well, I played Sawyer, which was the mirror match, but that was the only mirror.
Oh, yeah, I played Sawyer, so yeah, I guess I did play round 1, so.
He was so bad, he forgot about it.
Oh, no.
So yeah, like I would say the Android deck is really. It felt like there was no way I could win as a hand destruction deck because they flip it, they awaken at 6, which is already terrible for us as the hand destruction decks, and then he runs 17, who just like I remember I discarded his hand twice, and both times he just refilled his hand with 17. And it was just like it just felt like it was impossible to win. Essentially, so it's like a really really good deck against hand destruction. So definitely. It says John's deck had me super scared. Yeah, the deck is awesome. It was so much fun. Again, we tweaked a little bit on the way there, and I've made some more tweaks about it. It's actually will be the first deck profile I do on the channel. Will be on that deck, and so yeah, it's a very awesome deck. I like it a lot.
Very solid deck.
Yeah, it's cool. Anything else you want to talk about with the Dream Wizards tournament, Jordan? Anything else that you liked? Anything you saw there? The Trunks deck was pretty cool. Was that what? Who was playing that? I can't remember. It was
Amani Edwards.
Yeah, Amani was playing. Yeah,
another solid player from Team R4S. That's their YouTube.
Yeah, they were really cool. I know. Like I tell you, one thing was we got a lot of people walk up to us and just say thank you for the content. Everybody was super friendly. Like I said, all the players were awesome, and like you said, the other team there was awesome. They were super cool. They walked up to us and talked to us too. We got a picture with some of them. Just a fantastic event, honestly, guys. We had a great time.
Yep. It was. Yeah. It was very fun.
I agree that Monty's deck was really neat. I saw it play a couple times, and I have a lot of people like. I mean, I think it was my 4th round opponent. I sat down, and they're like, "Hey, you're the Kitchen Table Meta guy, right?" And I was like, "Yeah." They're like, "Cool. Did you see Amani's deck? It looks really sweet." And I was like, "Actually, I haven't, but you're like the 3rd person that's told me about it, so it has to be really cool." So that's really cool to see that.
Definitely.
Alrighty, so let's go ahead and move into our next topic here, guys. We're gonna kind of fly through these topics a little bit since we went a little bit over with the judging, but this is not supposed to be here. So the next thing we're going to talk about is the Indestructible rule, which was a viewer submitted question. And so we had some people talk about, we had a viewer talk about us, and they said, okay, you know, Dusty, I want you guys to really talk about Indestructible. And I'm so glad that Jordan agreed to be here today because I know one of his biggest concerns moving into Union Force was the Indestructible keyword. And I feel like that's probably the keyword that scared you the most. So I'll let you take this off, Jordan. What do you think about Indestructible so far in your testing?
Well, that's the problem. Testing hasn't happened too well lately. but nah, just in general, I think Indestructible is a really solid keyword. I don't know if it's overpowered per se. I think it's really, really good, and it's oppressive to control decks because they can a lot of the control decks in this game like to clear the board of any threats, and with the Indestructible mechanic, you can't do that. They're there for the rest of the game. Except for a few cards that can interact with them. But I just think they're really oppressive to control.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, they can be. I mean, but I think with Indestructible, I think that's a good thing because I think with set 1, I think the game was maybe a little too favored to control decks. I don't know how you feel about that, but I feel like it was kind of hard to win as an aggro deck because you're essentially feeding control deck more cards, and they can essentially not attack you and then like kind of starve you with cards. And so I think this set has really tried to swing the needle more towards balance and in the way that it's trying to put indestructible threats in to make it hard. You know, it's something that control decks can't control. And also with the whole, if you have like 3 or less cards in your hand, something awesome happens, which I think both of those things are really good a way to combat control. Like, what do you think?
Yeah, I think especially like the Gohan and the Vegito, the ones where if you're hand solo, you get a really, really good effect. I think those are really good for aggro, and they're definitely going to help that archetype out a lot. But I think Indestructible could be abused, though, in this situation. Like, maybe now control decks are just going to play all these Indestructible battle cards. So now they're the control deck, kind of, and they're just going to be able to snowball the game. And there's really, if it gets to a certain point, there's not really much you can do to the Indestructible if they get 2 or 3 or 4 of them on board. Like, that's like essentially 3 to 4 cards every turn that you have to lose just to not die or take life. I don't know. We'll be able to tell more once more testing is done. But right now, I feel like Zamatsu's gonna be super strong, and I think it might be like the control deck to beat in the upcoming format.
Yeah, I think one of the things I don't like about the Zamasu deck so far is I feel like it is very strong. I feel like it's a very solid deck, and I feel like it is. But I think, like you said, the indestructible threats make it so the only way you can beat it as another control deck is to outrace it, which feels like unfun, right? It's almost like whoever goes first has that little bit of advantage because they have an extra energy essentially, and so it feels kind of intuitive and like uninteractive. It does. It really feels like I'm just turn one. It's like I'm playing a thing. Your go. Now I'll play objection, and then I play Weiss, and then you know what I mean? It's like I don't play anything out that hurts you. I don't play anything out that it's like we're not having any interaction. We're not having the battle. It's literally just I'm trying to get to my big scary thing before you get to your big scary thing, and that's like
exactly
that's very unfun. I mean, you're right. That definitely causes it to be fun. What do you guys think about Zamasu versus Goku Black? It's funny that you mentioned that because before this cast started, I was actually talking to Jordan about this, and I feel like it's really stinks for Zamasu. Yesterday I was doing some testing on Octagon, and I played like 6 games because I always like to like know the decks really well before I put them up on do a deck profile on them. I don't want to miss anything. I want to have a good understanding of the deck, and so I play test with them a lot. And actually, I played against 5 Goku Blacks out of 6 games, all different players, and I got wrecked every time. It just felt like it was almost impossible to win because Goku Black gets 1 turn ahead of you. His ability essentially makes it so he can get his big scary guy out before you get your big scary thing out, which again feels unfun. It doesn't feel intuitive. It's like if I sit down and I look across and I see that I'm playing against a Goku Black, it's like, well, I probably have a 20% chance to win. Maybe if I'll get lucky, he misses objection, or maybe he doesn't get Weiss, and then I can maybe pull ahead. But other than that, it's like it feels almost unwinnable. What do you think, Jordan? Did you have any experience with that matchup?
Not much, but I know that Goku Black, just like you said, being a turn ahead, and Goku Black is just like the faster deck. And I feel like that's it's kind of like its own deck in of itself. It's going to ramp to play the Evolve Black Rose Goku, and it's going to kill 3 of their energy, and it's going to put you 3 turns behind. And once that happens, there's really not much you can do to come back. But I think Zamasu is going to be like the more like control, like stasis kind of deck where it's just going to sit there and just keep building up a board.
Right.
And Goku Black's more of the like aggressive ramp deck that obviously would punish those control decks that just want to sit there and get to the late game.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think one thing I'd say I told you was Goku Black definitely beats Zamasu most of the time, but I think Zamasu beats everything else more consistently, which is important, right? Because if you're going to regionals, right, unless you're expecting a Zamasu field, you probably shouldn't be on Goku Black so far in my testing, because I think it's weak to almost everything else. It doesn't have as many indestructible threats, which is a key part of Zamasu winning, and also it relies a lot on its health. And so it's very weak to aggro decks. And so if you put a lot of pressure on it early, it actually loses life, which stops its ramping. And also it's really reliant on the Goku Black promo. The 6-drop play, deal 2 damage and then ready 6 of your life. Because what it wants to do is it wants to play out the Goku Black promo, and then it wants to ready its energy and then evolve the other Goku Black on top of it and then kill 3 of your energy. And if you can put a lot of pressure on him, then you make it so he can't do that. Like he can't take 3 life essentially in a turn. And so it's very weak to a lot more matchups than Zamasu is, whereas Zamasu just has, what we say, I think you said it was like 10 life, pseudo, like 10 life. Essentially, and so he just sits there and is like, I will live long. You cannot stop me from like doing all this really cool stuff. So
definitely.
You can kill most decks in 4 turns. Sure, I'm sure certain decks could, I'm sure, yeah. One question we'll talk about before we move on a little bit with this discussion is, how does Mafuba work with autos that prime before attack? And so, I mean, essentially Mafuba works just like in the other counter. The counter happens and then all autos happen. So there's no there's no difference. Like it's just like you full power energy it, or Vados assistance. The same thing happens, and then after that it turns into a not a battle card. So the last thing we'll talk about with Indestructible, guys, something else I'm a little worried about with this is I think there's 2 things. Number one, I don't think it's going to be too broken because I think it's really, they've done a good job making it essentially only 2-liter usable, essentially. Like you can splash in some of the Indestructible threats, but they're not anywhere near as good if you use them like a Ginyu deck, for example. What do you think about that, Jordan? Do you think that's a good way to balance it? Do you think it's a bad way? Like, does it matter?
No, I definitely think that's a good way to balance it. Like, I know the 6-drop Zamasu says you have to have either Goku Black or Zamasu leader, and I think you have to do that because otherwise that card would be played in everything because that card is so good.
Right.
So, like by playing Zamasu or Goku Black, which may be slightly worse than some other other leaders that you can play, you get the advantage of having the Indestructible plus the the 6-drop, which is the negate, or even the I'm not sure if the 10-drop has any stipulations, but I know Goku Black Super Rare, you have to be Goku Black to use the effect.
Definitely. I think that's really neat. And I think I've said this before, but I think that's one of the greatest things about this game is how they have essentially, it's because there's so many different leaders, they can really tie strategies to leaders instead of to callers. And so that's really neat because it makes it so, if something gets overpowered, like for example, Cold Bloodlust, right? That card is super strong, but it's only tied to 3 leaders. And so if if that card's getting played all the time, you just stop giving support to that group of leaders and start giving it to another group of leaders, and then you can start creating balance, which is super neat. It's a great way to balance the game. Okay, anything else to talk about with Indestructible, Jordan? I thought you'd have more to say about this, man. I thought you'd be going off.
I don't know. Like, it's tough to say because I haven't got to play. Like, if I got to play, maybe I would be a little bit more tilted. I don't know. It depends.
Well, I will say that I wish there was a little bit more. I wish there was more answers to it. I wish, because right now the only answer we have is Zeno, the 7-drop Zeno. It's the only thing currently that beats it. Right? I mean, like as one card, right? Like I've heard people.
Yeah, one card. Yeah.
I've heard people talk about how you can use Cold Bloodlust to take it off, and then if they attack with it, use like the green counter to kill it. But it's like at that point, I'm not even mad. Like you know what I mean? If you just use 2 cards, I don't even care.
I think the other good way to kill it is the Pilaf. I'm pretty sure Pilaf can negate the indestructible keyword. So you have like a Yajirobe or Android 16 out, and they attack, and you Pilaf it, and then blocker revenge. They don't see it coming. But other than those 2, like Zeno and that's the only 2 like realistic answers. Like Cold Bloodlust, you just negate it, and then they just don't attack.
Right. And like I said, I think even if they do attack at that point, like you don't even care. I think as a Zamasu player, if you just use Cold Bloodlust and another card to kill my 1 card, I'm like okay with that. I just got 2 cards out of your hand. Like
True,
I'm not even that mad. You know what I mean? As long as I'm not attacking with like my 10-drop or something. You know what I mean? Yeah. Definitely. Okay, guys. So now we're going to move on to our last segment for the week. And that is the Union Force decks that we're the most excited about. I know me and Jordan's talked a lot about it. We've talked a lot about some decks we're excited for. So again, I'm gonna let my honored guest here, that I spelled his name wrong, go ahead and tell me what some decks you're excited for in the U Force.
The deck I'm most excited for, and I was really excited for Zamatsu. But I think the deck I'm most excited for, and I'm going to be building here soon, is the blue-green Cell deck. Yep. I know you played the hand destruction version. I don't know exactly what version I'm going to build yet, but I know me and Sawyer talked about it a lot, and Sawyer did play it at the case event. I know he did his own tweaks and stuff, but we definitely talked about it a good bit before the set came out. And I just think it's going to be one of the stronger decks in the set because Cell's Awakened side is just so good.
It's so good. It's so insane. And I'll tell you, me and Sawyer talked a little bit about the event, but the thing I liked about your guys' version of the deck is, again, my deck was purely hand destruction. I want to win by making you just milling you out of cards essentially, out of your hand. And then, but the control deck is very scary because what it does is normally Cell has to put a card under him to draw 2 cards essentially, and then once he has 2 cards, he can use those 2 cards to kill a threat, which is very powerful. I mean, insane ability. But eventually, if you just keep playing threats out, he loses cards. So like he can't do it every turn. But with Sawyer's deck, he ran a lot of like Gohans and Gokus and Kales. I'm not Gokus, Beeruses and Kales. And essentially, you would play a threat and he'd kill it with Beerus. You'd play another threat and he'd kill it with Kel. And he'd play another threat, he'd kill it with Gohan. And before you know it, freaking Cell has 8 cards under him, and you're just like, I can't play anything. The next 8 turns or the next 4 turns, you're gonna kill my dudes. You know what I mean? That sucks. Yep. So like, it does seem very scary. Definitely.
It's a lot like the Tricolor Ginyu deck in that you play Cold Bolas to protect your threats, and then you play your minions or your battle cards to kill their threats. And in this deck, it's kind of like they can kind of trade, but every turn you're getting more fodder for Cell, so you can actually kill 2 of their threats per turn if you have to, and while cycling cards without pressuring your opponent's leader, which sometimes is really bad. So you get that draw without having to attack, which is also amazing.
So we have TDMCP ask about, he says, green-blue over green-red. What do you think about green-red?
That's Travis. Shout out to Travis.
What's up, Travis?
Talked to a good bit on Discord and stuff, and he did show me his green-red list. I just like green-blue over it because green-blue is the more control, I guess, deck. Red-green would probably be more aggressive. I'm more of a control player, and I like blue because of results of training. Mainly for the way to awaken. I like it over TN because TN makes you pressure your own life total a little bit too much in that matchup. Well, in every matchup, just in the deck in general. you getting rid of your life isn't really what you want to do. You want to hold on to your life so you can make the game go as long as possible. And by awakening maybe a turn or two later with results is slightly better in my opinion. And you get to keep your life, and you can use that life total whenever you need to, and you have it there at your disposal.
Yeah, no, I mean, when you said that, I feel like the same things, with Zamasu. I think I learned the same thing where it's very tempting to take your life every turn and draw a card. But honestly, like the longer you can keep your life on, the more pressure you put on your opponent because they have to eat through that 8 life or whatever or sell. And like you said, if they attack you, then they're like ending the game quicker, but they're like essentially awakening you for free. And Tien's a bad card. I mean, Tien's not very good after you've awakened, right? He just sits out there and he's like dirtles and doesn't really do anything. So I agree. I mean, I know we talked about it at dinner that day where I was like, I think the worst card in my deck was Tien. Like, I really do. Like, I mean, he awakened me, but like a lot of times it just felt like it wasn't needed. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think Tien's was maybe a little overhyped coming out the gate. I think it's still like a solid card to awaken in certain decks, but I just like results a lot better because you don't have to pressure your life total so much, and I feel like it is a resource, but you don't want to be like overly using it.
Right. No, that's a good point. And also, the other thing about results, which usually stinks with that card, is if you draw like the second one, it really sucks, or the third one's terrible. But Cell just fixes that, right? You just pitch it and draw 2 cards, you're fine. You know what I mean? So
that's one of the great things about the flip side, being able to, you can essentially play 4 results if you want to. You want to make sure you awaken, but those are either you can use them as mana, which is always good, or or energy, whatever you call it, or you can put it under Cell and draw 2 cards. So it fixes itself for the most part.
Right, definitely. We have a question here that I'm pretty confident is aimed at you here, Jordan. It says, moving forward, how would you approach a Ginyu deck? Do we move more aggro with a focus of Ginyu Force now because of the 3-drop TP card and the Dash Pack promo, or does it still stay control?
I'm actually going to build the Tricolor deck again. I'm just going to add some new stuff to it. I think the Tricolor control deck is still really good. I don't think it really got hurt. Bloodlust is still amazing. Zamatsu is definitely probably one of its tougher matchups, but everything else seems pretty winnable. I think it has a decent Cell matchup. I think it has a decent matchup against everything else. Just that. And then for the aggro version, I definitely want to try out the mono yellow deck with all the new yellow support that it got. It didn't get a lot in the set, but I know there's a few promos, both Ginyu promos and the new Frieza promo. I really like that card. So there's definitely something maybe there that you could build a solid aggro yellow deck. But I haven't really like I said, I haven't really tested too much or got into deck building. But here soon, definitely we'll be trying to build something like that with Ginyu because he's my boy.
Yeah, dude, definitely. That's why I put the Ginyu Goku up on the thumbnail this week. I don't know if you noticed that. So, any other decks you're excited for, Jordan? Anything else that you're hoping to see?
Right now, not too much. I know my buddy, he's playing Metacooler, and it's interesting because I just didn't really think Metacooler could be that good. But actually, getting big Gede Star, I think that's what it's called, out on turn 1 and then abusing Metacoolers every turn is actually pretty annoying, to be honest with you. And comboing that with maybe like all like the aggressive red cards that we got definitely could be another solid deck to watch out for. I think there was one at the core tournament that did pretty well.
Definitely. No, definitely. I mean, I think Metacooler was one of those decks where I looked at it when I was doing the card reviews and stuff, and I was like, this is just like a gimmicky thing, whatever. And then the more I started reading the card and the more I started thinking about it, I was like, wait a second. It's actually just kind of annoying, right? Like, you have this like 50,000 attacker every turn, and you're just like, please go away. And they're like, nope, I'm not going to. It's like, yeah, it actually does seem pretty annoying.
It is. Very much so.
Okay, and then, so let's talk about some things I'm excited about. I'm excited about Papa Chilled. I've talked about that multiple times. I can't wait to start building that. I think that deck's going to be really cool. I think the deck is really good against Cell decks because it can't kill your tokens. The problem is you have no way to make your tokens be able to kill them right now. And so that's tough. And so it's like this weird kind of stalemate where if you can get your your 5-cost rare or whatever that comes into play, gives it triple strike, all this really cool stuff, you might be able to win the game. But I don't know if the deck's going to be consistent enough for me. I like very consistent decks that I can take to tournaments and know what's going to happen. That's one thing I loved about the Vegeta Hand Destruction deck is, every time I played that deck, even when I did like my gameplay videos and editing, like in that video, I would always change how much life each person had and when they awakened, and my markers almost never changed because like literally every turn was like every game was almost exactly the same. And I just love consistent decks. That makes me, I can plan around it, I can get good with the deck. And Papa Chilled seems not very consistent, but still possible. Pretty good.
Yeah, definitely.
It says, I made a Galactic Frieza deck using Android 19 for a draw engine and running Android 16 to KO stuff and untap blocker safely, like full power energy. Then I tried splashing red for Kaba with the new meta change. I still want to abuse Bloodlust. Your thoughts? The funny thing about that deck that you just described is I actually right now have it in a deck box. I call it the Balkan deck. And so essentially what I do is I use the Android 19. I use Gohan, the new Gohan promo, which is a red card. I use Kel. I essentially just use every card that can possibly attack and draw you a card. And I literally try to just draw tons of cards and then use my cards on my opponent's turn. So I essentially just build the deck with nothing but 0 cost 5,000 creatures. And then on my opponent's turn, I just ditch them to stay alive. And then on my turn, just use all my cards to draw back up. And so essentially I constantly, apply pressure on you and then have all these 0 cost cards to survive the next turn, and then use like Android 17 and stuff to just draw right back up. And so it's actually, I remember at one point I had like 19 cards in hand. And it's just, it's pretty scary, especially if you can awaken fast. For sure. So I think the deck, I think there's something there. I'm just not sure exactly what it is yet. Right now, it kind of feels like I'm doing all this cool stuff, but I can't win. And so I just need to find that like win condition. How about you? Have you had any experience with the Galactic Frieza, Jordan?
No, actually, I haven't. Other than losing to it at the case tournament on Sunday. It was like a tricolor variant. It was really strong. Never really played against it. But yeah, it definitely impressed me. I might have to check it out.
Oh yeah, no, I love Galactic. Yeah, and yeah, guys, Galactic Frieza is the guy who at the end of your turn it readies one of your rested characters. It is a little weak to Cell though, I've noticed, because Cell can still kill your best dude every turn, which is frustrating. But you are putting a lot of pressure on Cell, so that's important too. So but that's another thing about Cell, like you don't want to put pressure on him. He's like one of the few leaders that you, because usually as the Frieza deck, you put pressure on your opponent, and then when they awaken, they have to attack you to draw that card every turn. And so that way, like, it's like kind of your pseudo awaken ability, right? Like, and so doesn't have to do as a carry. He's just like, I'm still not going to attack you. I'm just going to kill your dudes and draw 2 cards a turn and suck it. So,
so it's so good. Can't stress how good that is. Not having to attack into your opponent's leader to draw the cards.
Yeah, and I think that's why I haven't built on it more with the Galactic Frieza deck, was because I think my worst matchup is Cell, and that's probably one of the most popular decks right now. So I felt just as a meta, it's probably bad to take that to a tournament. But I definitely want to keep working on it, because I think there might be something there.
Yeah, so definitely.
Any other decks, Jordan? Anything else you want to talk about? Anything else you're excited about?
Not right now. Other than, I mean, I'm still going to play my tricolor. I still think it's good, but other than those couple decks, I don't really, not really interested in building anything just yet. But maybe once I test some of those decks out, maybe I move on to some other stuff. Goku Black, maybe.
Sure.
Another solid option. But not too sure yet.
Definitely. All right, guys. So we're getting ready to get out of here. We've ran a little bit over. I think we were running for about an hour and 20 minutes. So if you guys have any questions, go ahead and start putting them in chats. I try to answer them as fast as I can. And then we're just going to go through here. I want Jordan to kind of tell us a little bit about his YouTube channel, do a little shout outs. I'll talk to you guys a little bit about what I'm going to do this week and next week as well. And then we're going to get out of here. But like I said, just keep giving us questions. As long as you guys ask questions, we'll sit here and answer them. So
definitely.
So go ahead, Jordan. Let's talk a little bit about your YouTube channel.
Oh, my YouTube channel. I've been doing a couple videos here and there. Might do some more now with the new set coming out. Definitely some more content. I like doing deck profiles mainly because I'm not really fancy with all the other stuff, but I can do a decent deck profile when I have some time. And I'll probably continue to do those, maybe like tournament reports, do like a video on that. But just a couple videos here and there, nothing crazy.
Definitely. No, I mean, I definitely liked your Ginyu, deck profile. I thought it was an awesome deck. That's kind of how me and you kind of met, actually. We kind of I started just getting all excited about the Ginyu deck, and we just kind of started talking after that. So yeah, no, awesome channel. Definitely check him out. It's Big Boy, right? It's Big Boy. Is it 17 or what's the YouTube?
I think it's just Big Boy. I know
YouTube.
Boy? I think it I don't know. Sometimes I feel like
I'm
YouTube's weird, but I think it is just Big Boy. But maybe there is numbers behind it.
Yeah, I mean, you would know more than I would.
I don't know about that.
I think. Okay, here it is. I'm going to go ahead and Jordan give you guys the link to his profile in the. There you go, guys. There's his YouTube. Go check him out, guys. Give him a subscribe. He's a fantastic content creator and thanks, a good person to talk to as well. I like having him on the show. Okay, so first question.
Likewise, man. Likewise.
Oh, well, thank you, buddy. I appreciate that. It says, so what is the better cell, mono green or the blue green?
I think blue green is going to be better. Just gives you more options, and like I was talking about results for a good bit. Results just is the best way to awaken, in my opinion. So you definitely want to play blue for that. And then you also get access to cards like good control cards like Weesis Coercion, the Beerus, well, 4, technically 5-drop that kills a battle card. You just get a lot of good control cards by playing blue, and some utility cards like Majin Buu, like standard 1-drop. But yeah, blue just adds a lot to the deck.
Definitely. Next question is in that series is what are the staples? What do we think the staples are for the cell decks?
Staples for the cell decks. I definitely think you should be playing the 7-drop cell for sure. I think he's a staple. I think in the green-blue version, results is a staple. You got to have some kind of negate package, whether it be like Weesis Coercion, Full Power Energies, or even the new green block or the new blue block, Mafuba. Some combination of those to help you get to the late game. And then from there on, I don't really know if there's any other true staples. Definitely like some Beerus effects, kill the battle cards, the new promo Green Gohan or Kale, stuff like that. But
all right, and then the last question says, do I go with the Android engine or just use the promo in 7-drop?
Right now, I'm only using the Dash Pack promo and the 7-drop. I don't really like the Union Absorb. I think it's gimmicky. Not to say that it's not good. I just think that it's more gimmicky, and like if it goes off, it's like really strong. But the amount of times it's going to go off just seems like it's not going to be too many, and I'd rather just have the more consistent version of the deck.
Right. No, I agree, because I think a lot of times too that combo kind of puts you at just as much a disadvantage as your opponent sometimes. You know, because you're discarding so many cards, and you have to, like you said, you have to jump through all these hoops to get it to work. That, you know, while it's sometimes good, I think, you know, the meta is going to evolve to a spot where we're just prepared for that, right? We have Cold Bloodlust ready, we have a Mafuba ready, we have something ready to deal with that, right? So I don't think it's going to take as many players off guard as it has the first go around. So I agree. Okay, let's see some other questions. We have right here. We have one. It's not really a question, but it says, "Cool. I'll make sure Jordan is added to the YouTube thread on Reddit." So that's awesome. Thank you for doing that. Cool. Jordan's definitely supposed to be there. He's a great content creator. Next up says, "Hey Dusty, where can I get a good setup for recording matches?" Actually, something I did want to talk about is probably not this week, probably not next week, but sometime soon I'm going to do a whole series of a series of videos talking about my setup, how I record stuff, how I edit. I'm just doing like essentially a content creator series where I am going to really talk about how I do stuff. I've had so many people ask me about that I feel like I should do a video series for that, and it's something I want to do. But right now I'm just so busy with Set 2 stuff, so give me a little bit of time. But once stuff kind of cools down, once we get probably out of that first regional, I'll have a little bit more time, and I can sit down and do that for you guys. Definitely. But the first thing you should do to get set up, get a good webcam, guys. I use the Logitech 1080p webcam. I think it's like maybe $60 or something on Amazon, probably less than that. Fantastic. And really, guys, really work on your overlays. To me, that's something that's cheap to do. It has nothing to do with your artistic skill either. Just sit down and really make your stuff look like, look high quality. If you put the more time, the more effort you put into your videos, the more it shines through. Like, your viewers know that, right? Like, they know that you spent time, right? And that's just the most important thing for you to do. Okay. Next up, it says, what is your tier list predictions for the next month, both of you?
Tier list predictions.
Yeah, for the next month.
Yeah, I definitely think Cell is going to be up there. A couple different variants probably. I think there's going to be the control variants with the blue green, maybe even some aggro variants. I know Travis was talking about the red green. I haven't had any experience with it, but I definitely think Ray got some pretty good tools for aggro, and mixing in the green could be pretty deadly combo. I think Zamatsu with the Indestructible mechanic definitely going to be up there. Some Cold Bloodlust decks, whether it be Galactic Emperor Frieza, Ginyu, of course, or maybe even Golden Frieza. I know Scott Dashi plays a lot of Golden Frieza and speaks highly of it. But I definitely think some of those decks are definitely going to be up at the top. Not too sure. Maybe some sort of aggro deck. I'm just not sure on the leader though. That's like the thing with the aggro decks. I'm not too sure what the best leader would be for that type of deck.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty, with you on all those predictions. I think a couple decks. I think, as far as if I had to choose, one thing to remember, guys, is that once I launch my Patreon, which is probably next week, I'll actually have a weekly updated tier list. So through my testing, I will essentially have tier list every week. So it'll update. It'll not only be the best, decks, but also be the best leaders and best cards in each caller. So that'll be a weekly tier list I'll update. But I'd say right now, my predictions are, I think we're going to see the Vegito ramp deck. be a tier 1 deck. I'd say that deck's really annoying. It seems like every time I play against that deck, they have 2 cards in hand the whole game, and every time those 2 cards are bibbity. It's like every time. Like they just, I played an Octagon. The guy literally had 1 card in hand. I mean, he had 2 cards. He goes energy, Bobbity or whatever, and he plays it, gets 2 insane threats. I deal with them, and he's like, draw a card. Bobbity, do it again. It's like, could you stop? That card is so good. Stop playing it against me. I know you had something similar happen at the event too.
Oh,
right?
Yeah, the last round. I mean, it happens. It's a card game, but no, he just he was in top deck mode, and he just top decked 3 big powerful threats. I think it was like a Vegito, and then the next 2 turns he top decked Bobbity, and I didn't have any bloodlust, and they just both hit like the one hit like a Prince of Speed and a big Goku, and then the other one hit like another Vegito and another Prince of Speed or something. And it was just like he ended up with like 5 or 6 cards at the end of the game when he had 0 2 turns prior, and I'm just like, what happened? What did I do wrong?
That's scary. That's scary when they can do that on turn 4 too. If they ramp right, if they go objection to Whis, they can do that the next turn. It's like that sucks. Yep. That's like really hard to deal with, for sure. And exactly the next question was, do you think Vegeta will still be tier 1? I think so, because I mean, my thing with Vegeta is I think Vegeta is probably the most consistent leader, and he's also the most he's the leader that has the most variety, right? Like he can play control, he can play aggro, he can play mono blue, you can put him with any other color. Like he's just such a good deck, and so I think that kind of variance and that kind of variety is always going to be powerful, right? Because honestly, there's something about sitting down against your opponent and your opponent looking over and see that you're playing Vegeta and have no idea what you're playing, that is very powerful. I don't think Vegeta Hand Destruction will be the best deck for the best Hand Destruction deck. I actually think Cell will take that over, because I think Cell's just so good in the mirror. Because Cell can play his Broly's turn 1, and Vegeta can't, because Cell will just kill him. Also, Vegeta has no answer to the 7-drop Cell. And so I think that, honestly, like, he'll probably falter in Hand Destruction, but I think he'll still be just as good in the other ones. What do you think, Jordan?
Yeah, I definitely think Vegeta, you can go so many different ways with Vegeta that, it's kind of tough to, like, do your mulligans, too. I just think he's really good in that aspect. But anything that can self-awaken, I think that's a good thing to have on a leader.
Oh, yeah, me too. I mean, it's just so good. I mean, it makes the deck so consistent because you're drawing so many cards. You're awakening, definitely. Next question says, last question, Cell's Birth or Nah, blue-green? Well, I'll let Jordan answer as well, but, in my Hand Destruction deck, I ran Cell's Birth, and I thought it was very good. I only ran 2 of them. My, thing was, it's just a strong 1-drop play against yellow decks, because, you don't want to play your Bardox, or not Bardox, Broly's, 1-drop Broly's into a Goldo. And so I would just play Cell's Birth instead, because it's something they can't deal with, and that would go to objection, and then, keep going up the line. And then at turn 5, I can play out 7-drop Cell. So, I mean, I think, yeah, you should probably run maybe 1 or 2 of them. What do you think, Jordan?
Yeah, I definitely think it's going to be in my version of the deck when I build it. I know that Sawyer did play, I don't know how many copies he ran at the tournament. I think we decided on 2, and he said he didn't really like it that much, but I don't know exactly what he was running, but I'm going to try out 2 to 3 of them and see how they work. I think it's just like you said, like a really strong 1-drop play that you can then play either the promo Cell 5-drop that I'll be playing in my version. You can play it on 3, or you can play the big 7-drop on 5. I think those are both strong plays.
When you say promo Cell, do you mean the Cell that attacks, and if you combo with it,
yeah,
or do you mean the other Cell, the
dash pack one? Yeah, okay. I didn't know. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. No, I think actually, it actually surprising that Cell doesn't see more play, because I feel like that card's just like every time I look at that card, I'm like, that card's actually pretty good. The Set 1 tournament pack Cell, like he's actually not too bad, but it just for some reason I feel like there's just so many other good cards, in around that drop. Like, are you going to play him over Super Saiyan Gotenks? Probably not. And like he still dies to like 4 drops, but he has Revenge. I don't know. I just think he's such a cool card. I'm surprised he doesn't see more play than he does.
Yeah, it's just tough. Super Saiyan Gotenks is just like an auto include, so you got to kind of put those in the deck first. It's just such a good card.
Yeah.
But I think playing a few copies of the Dash Pack Cell is just really solid, and against those like more aggressive matchups where maybe they get you down to like a lower life total, you can use that to effectively awaken yourself and pitch a card in their hand, which is really strong.
Definitely. All right, guys. Well, I think that's it for us. I don't see any more questions, so I think we're going to get out of here. Guys, thank you so much for joining us again for episode 5 of the Supercast. It's always a blast having you guys. I'll tell you, again, special thanks to Jordan for being here. I really appreciate it, man. Thank you so much. Wonderful teammate. He's been representing the brand very well. Fantastic player, great content creator. Not really much I can say bad about the guy, except that he's wearing, this crappy baseball hat right now. The stupid team on it.
Man. Thanks for bringing me on, man. I really do appreciate it, and I'm glad to be a part of the team. I think I'm really excited for the regionals coming up, and I think we're gonna do a great job.
No, I agree. I definitely agree. I mean, I tell you, it's been a lot of fun testing with you. It's been a lot of fun talking to you guys. Like I said, you guys have all been wonderful players. I tell you, we had a lot of people talk about the event on Reddit, and they were super nice about the team. And it's all because of you, man. Like I said, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much. What are your thoughts on the last deck idea I mentioned? I didn't see it, man, but I'll type it in chat after the cast, man. I'll definitely do that for you, I promise. Also, guys, that's a good segue. Thank you, Modo Rojojo. I'll be doing a Deck Doctor series probably every Friday or so, and starting next week. I'll take a deck idea that you guys send me. I've had so many deck ideas sent to me over the course of the last 3 days, and I'll essentially take those ideas and I'll tweak them. I'll be playing them on Octagon, and then I'll keep tweaking them, making them better, and then I'll do a video of that whole process for you guys. But I think it's something fun to watch and something a little bit different.
Definitely.
Okay. Anything going on with you, Jordan? Going in? Anything with the channel that you're gonna be moving into before we get out of here?
Not much yet. I'm definitely going to do some deck profiles though, so just be on the lookout for those. Probably like some Cell deck profiles or Azamatsu, something like that. But just keep watching, and thanks for having me on again, man. I really do appreciate it.
Oh, but I have a feeling this won't be the last time, buddy.
Awesome.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for having us. Like there is tradition, I always let my guests say the final word, and then we'll get out of here. Guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Jordan?
Thanks, guys. Thanks for watching. Really do appreciate it. All the love. Have a good one, guys.